Well, I figured it's about time for a property update. We've been pretty busy this spring. I'm over here in Hubcap Cove right now. This is where I store all of my parts and pieces that I can't see go into the dumpster. Will I use any of it? Probably not. Does somebody need one of those hubcaps? I'm sure they do. And one of these days I'll run into that person. We have the parts car for the Studebaker Wagonaire project down here now too. So it's nice that this is out of the way. And topper and everything's been put down here because we've needed space for all of the work we've been doing up on the main lot there. We'll get to that in a second. First, let's look at all the new area I'm trying to open up a little further on down the hill here. Just kind of a lower terrace to the lot. I still need to grind out probably, I don't know, 30 or 40 stumps at this point to make this area usable. But I would say the majority of the trees I want to take down are down at this point. And I hope to be getting the stump grinder in this weekend to start hitting this pretty hard. I don't know if I'll get it all done in a weekend. We'll need to see how it goes. Some of these are cut a couple years ago. Some of them are fresh cuts this spring. It might be a little taxing to get everything done in one go. We'll need to see. Built up this bank here a lot. We got in gravel. We did a lot of dirt work. We'll get into that here in a minute. But there's going to be a lot of usable space down here. And I'm thinking this is going to be primarily used for long-term project storage and or a place to put parts cars so they're not blocking up the main yard up top. Around the side of the kind of terrace that the shop and everything's sitting on, we're going to have parking as well. This whole area is going to be opened up here and you can just nose cars in. And the good thing is everything's going to be hidden from the road for the most part down here. So I try to keep everything relatively neat. I don't want to be that nuisance yard. And I have pretty good relations with most of the neighbors here. But I don't want to push my luck. So whatever I can hide from view, the better. I'm not sure. I still might take down these 3 trees just to open this up a little wider here. There's a ton of brush sitting around still. Got to finish cutting up this one. Been hauling a ton of firewood, splitting a ton of firewood, getting all that done for the season. We had a really rough winter, went through a lot of firewood. Now we'll take a quick look back here so you can see the amount of space we're actually opening up. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be lumpy and bumpy. None of this will be graveled for a while, but it's still going to be usable square footage compared to just rotting forest. And that was a motivating factor to this as well. A lot of the birch trees in through here, everything's too thick, and we had a lot of dead standing trees in here, which we've been getting a lot more wind lately. It kind of started to sketch me out. I'm glad everything's kind of pushed back at this point, and I'm going to keep going through the forest, weeding out all the weaklings, thinning everything out so that what's there remains healthy. I really do think I'll take these 3 out still. We'll see how it all goes. And then over this way, I cleared out a ton of space from around that white spruce there. It is leaning a little bit towards the power line up on the road. I'm sure at some point, power company's going to want to take that down, but in the meantime, I want it to look as nice as possible. This is one of the brush piles from everything we've done up here this season. And there's a bunch of others just strewn around the property that still need to get chipped up. I'll probably leave this one for the rabbits and squirrels and whatnot, a little ecosystem. But if you're seeing the same vision I am, I'll be able to park cars all the way around here. And it's going to open up a ton of space up top. Another big issue we've been dealing with is there was such a choke point at the mouth of the driveway here. Getting a car trailer in and out was doable, but very finicky. So we decided to fill in. This used to be a trail, 4-wheeler trail that went up into the yard here. But there was such a dip that you had to dogleg around that to get into the carport, which is a pain in the ass. So we've started to fill in this little hole here, kind of made a makeshift retaining wall out of all the free stuff we've been cutting down. Still going to pack some rock into the bottom. But it's setting up quite well. I got to get more material in here still, but I want to wait until I get that stump ground out. But you can comfortably walk around up here, drive on the 4-wheeler. It's a lot better than it was. That's another reason I wanted to limb that tree up to a certain point so that you're not trying to back a trailer through it into the driveway here. And then over on this side, we took out these 5 or 6 trees, however many it was. Over here, I used to have hubcaps hanging in them and tried to make everything look neat, but again, just created a choke point in the driveway. If you look over here, That just juts out so far that if you want to back straight into here and continue back into the yard, you had the dog leg around it, and you had to be careful that you didn't fall into that hole over there. So I'm just trying to make everything far more accessible and straightforward. Now I went into this spring really wanting to hammer out videos and get a lot done with all the project cars. The weather just did not allow that. Even 2 days ago we had a frost warning again, and the whole pad here was just slime 24/7. I could not get a damn thing done, so I had to change gears from getting everything done I wanted with the projects to finally being forced to get gravel into the yard here. It's not perfect, but it's going to do for now. It's a hell of a lot better than it was. You can actually walk in here right now. The other day we had rain all day, and I was able to come up here and walk back to the truck, which was unheard of previously. There are a couple new vehicles around the yard. I'll be doing separate walk around videos on those here soon. And I think there's 3 vehicles that I have bought that I haven't brought in yet. So there's going to be an influx of projects and revival videos here as soon as I get all the yard work done, or at least as far as I'm going to take it this year. Back here where the Jeep is sitting, you might remember there used to be a shed up on the hill. We had to move that out of the way, and that is now over behind the carport. It is sitting up on a 3-foot pony wall, has a wooden floor and everything. It's a nice little setup, not a ton of space, but plenty for now. It was kind of a pain to move. We had to separate it into 2 pieces, the metal piece and the wooden piece. I had a couple guys come over here and we were able to just manually carry everything from the back of the yard to the front here. And we had to do that during a snowstorm, of course, because it's Alaska. We'll take a real quick look inside here and I'll kind of explain what I'm wanting to do. Walk around the Wagonaire that I haven't touched in months. I did have everybody over here a few weeks ago and we put the old windshield from the parts car in it. It's of course cracked and kind of trashed at this point, but that's the way it goes when you put a broken piece of glass into a car. I really do have a lot of videos to do in the very near future here. You know, why are there 2 distributors sitting on the hood? What's this transmission doing here? Lots been going on in the background around all the yard work, but the yard work has taken priority for sure. The shed back here sits up off the ground a little bit. Not going to have a problem with drainage and all that. Everything's level. Everything's sturdy and dry. Dry storage was the big deal here. And since it's moved to the front of the lot, I can get power to it. So it's nice to actually have that ability in here, you know, listen to the radio, have a work light, all of that. This is more or less all set up the way it's going to be for now. There's going to be more storage in the carport back here. When this is 3 feet higher than it is sitting right now, I'm going to build a little loft from here over to the other side, taking up this space between the last 2 ribs of the carport. And I'm going to have 4x4 posts and everything supporting it, which is going to add structure to this so that it can't sway back and forth as much as well. But I'll just be putting long-term storage, parts and pieces up there. But that's about going to do it for the old carport here. I might get a new tarp to put on it, we'll see. And I keep calling it the old carport because a neighbor of mine up the road put up a metal building this spring, and he gave me his 40 by 14 by 16 carport, which was a huge motivating factor to get all the dirt work done back here, so I had a flat place to put it. You might remember from previous videos how much of a hillside there was kind of back where that Jeep was parked. It was probably a good, I don't know, 3.5 feet higher than how we sit right now, relatively level. And that just wasn't going to work for that 40-foot carport. So we had to rent an excavator, get that in here, dig out a ton of material. You can see as I walk along the bank here, kind of just how much we've lowered it. This 4-wheeler trail used to meet up with where the yard was right here. So we took out a lot, and we finally hit gravel right in this area. We got down far enough, we hit gravel. So we spread what we could around. There's also a pile back here of relatively usable material that I can utilize around the property wherever it's needed. This is what we dug out. This is the new D1 that we had hauled in. All of this along the bank is mud. I wanted to make a little bit more of a barrier wall against me and the neighbors. The power company always comes through, clears out the power line, and then you can see right into their front door, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So I'm trying to make, you know, a little bit of a privacy fence kind of. That 40-foot carport's going to start back corner right about there. Going to leave enough space between it and the bank to comfortably get a snow blower in there so that we can keep that all under control over the 8 months of winter we have. And it's going to extend quite a decent ways out into the yard here. It's going to make it feel small in here again when it's all set up, but I'm going to be able to store 4 vehicles in, very tight, but 4 vehicles in there during the winter, which is going to be really nice because there's a couple really nice cars around here like that 49 Dodge and this Studebaker Lark that I don't want out in the weather per se, but I've only ever had that one space for covered storage until now. Also, when the carport's up on the 3-foot pony wall, I already have the pony walls built. We bought all the lumber earlier this season. You got to hit it before building season kicks off up here, or things get super expensive, or that you just can't buy them anymore because supply and demand and all that. When that's up on the pony walls, we're going to build a lean-to off the side as well. That added height is going to allow me to add on to this without it being too low on this side. And that lean-to pole barn situation is going to end kind of at the front corner of the hearse here. So all said and done, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places I can store something out of the elements for the winter. There's still a ton to do around here. I would say a lot of the heavy lifting is done with the gravel at this point. It's not quite as thick as I was wanting to take it originally. We got about 60 yards in here, I think. 2 loads of tailings. We put all of that in the muddiest spots and just topped everything off with D1, level it out. And that's what we're sitting with. I would say it's a good 5 inches thick most places at this point, which should be good enough. I got to get a compactor in here and settle everything down. And it's going to take a lot of fine tuning to level out this back corner where that big carport's going to go. But that's what I've been up to. It's been a busy spring. I just haven't been able to get anything done really worth videoing. I will introduce you to the Lark and the Jeep in a video here, hopefully very soon. And I still got to drag home 3 vehicles that I've bought and need to store somewhere. So getting the stumps ground out down here is going to be the next big task so I can actually start utilizing this space for those new and upcoming projects. So I will probably put out a real quick video once I get all this done, giving you a walkthrough of the property, and that's going to be about it for this kind of video for this season, hopefully, and we can get back to the car stuff. So I hope everybody's had a productive spring and has been able to get everything done they want with their vehicles. I'll catch you in the next one.